angels, spirits, grandma, and the old guy who doesn't talk too much. These are all included on our spirit team. I get this question asked a lot. Who exactly is my team and how do I talk to them? Hi, my name's Joanne, and I'm a professional intuitive and channeler, and I merge the magic of spirituality along with the practicality of living a human life. And that's where we're all at in this moment. So welcome. So let's start out at the beginning. So everybody is born with guardian angels. They come with us from before the time that we're born. So they are there for our pre-birth planning. They are privy to our soul contracts. They know exactly what we're up to this lifetime and what we're not. So our guardian angels are specifically for us. We are their highest priority. So they're all individualized for each person. Now, then we have our spirit guides. Spirit guides are beings that are now passed over. Most of them have lived a life as a human, actually several hundreds or thousands or whatever of lives as a human, and they've come to the point where they no longer need to reincarnate. However, they have taken up the job of helping people who are still working through this wonderful life being a human. So those are the spirit guides. They will also you'll get different ones, but mostly they are specifically helping a few people, and but you're a high priority. So they have they have a small group of people kind of that they work with. That's my understanding and the information that I've had come through from my guides. Next, we have our ancestors. So we have grandma and grandpa and anybody else that has passed over. And now these wonderful spirits may be people that you've never met. So I've had come through in a reading. Actually, when my son was very little, I had a reading with a medium, and she's come up again since then. But one of the spirits that was hanging around a lot, especially when my son was small, was his paternal grandmother. And so we have never met her. She passed away long before my son was born, before I met his father. But she is one of the ones that was hanging around with him as when he was a small child. So they come in, they look after, they watch over you, they help guide you, and they do the best that they are able to at the time. Now, and I do get the message quite often that they do hang out, but not in a creepy way. So there's no judgment. They have a much bigger perspective than they did as a human. However, they're still not of the vibrational range of, say, an angel. So if Uncle Fred was a gambler, I wouldn't be looking to him for advice on money. Okay. Then we have, ascended masters. So often ascended masters will come in to help and assist someone through or along their spiritual journey. And it may change from time to time. They look after a much larger group of people. They are, they know what it's like to be human. They remember the dynamics of being human. So that's wonderful. But they've come to a stage in their life where they are no longer required to incarnate as human, but they do want to continue contributing to the consciousness on the planet and in the universe. So they take on the job of guiding, helping, mentoring, like that. So that's, yeah. Now that is kind of your spirit team. Some of the characters will change along the way, especially maybe an ascended master. I've had new guides come in and out for short periods of time. My experience has been that you will at least have one or two guides that are specifically for you. So they're going to be there your whole lifetime. You may not have always been aware of them, but they've always been there. And then I've had the experience of other ones that come in for different periods of my life. So when I was on a cancer journey, I remember specifically that I had a guide that I don't really remember, but I do remember the experience of it through the whole chemo thing. And now I don't they don't kind of pop in anymore. But during that 2-year period, they were there quite often. And I do remember the experience of having them there to help guide me and assist me and kind of just it was more comforting me, really. Okay. And as I said at the beginning of the video, that and the old guy who doesn't talk too much. Now, when our kids are young, if you ask them, they will tell you who their guides are, what their angel looks like, what they appear as. And I remember my son saying when he was about 4 or 5, was the first time that he remembered seeing my grandfather, so his great grandfather, who he never met. Oh, I know him. He's the guy with the boat. He comes and reads me stories. And then he also said, and who's the old guy who never talks very much? He's dressed like in, the way he described it, it would have been like an Asian costume from decades and decades ago. Anyways, he says he's always there, but he doesn't talk very much. So your guides aren't always particularly vocal. Some are, some aren't. Okay, so that's your team. Now, how do you talk to them? Because that's what I get asked this a lot. And you know what? I just talk to them like I'm talking to my best friend. I tend to kind of go, okay, guys, this is what we need. I can't find my keys. Can you all help me, please? Or somebody else has asked me to find something. Can you talk to their team and let me know what they find? Or, basically it's just like, hey, listen, I'm having a really rough day. What have you got? What's your idea for feeling better? Or when I wake up in the morning, I will often just simply plant my feet on the floor and go, okay, guys, what are we up to today? Like, what is on the agenda? So you just talk to them like you would talk to your best friends. That's it. It's that simple. It's not complicated. And the more fun you have with it, the easier it is. Trust me. The more you stress about how to do it properly or how not to do it, or will I get an answer, that brings you out of alignment and you can't hear them anymore. So relax. They're there for your benefit. They're usually very fun. I haven't had any guides or angels come through that were strict. They're not like your, the cranky teacher or the, scolding parent. They're not like that. They are loving. They are on your side always. Now, the next question I get a lot of is, so how do I hear them? Now that I figured out who they are, that they're always available because they're for me, I know how to talk to them, but now how do I receive messages from them? Okay, so here's the scoop. They will use anything in your environment to get a hold of you. So if you need a helping hand, and it could be something as simple as, I'm going to drop my groceries. They will nudge somebody else to come over. They will lift somebody else's head so that they notice you and they come over and help. That's how they work. They will, I have a story about someone close to me that was driving along a highway and woke up on the other side of the highway with the car against a sign. And looking out the window was a very steep ravine. Well, let me tell you, they did not end up there by accident. We still to this day do not know why they blacked out or fell asleep or what. We don't know what happened. However, we do know that A, there was no oncoming traffic when they crossed the line, and B, that they did not go that extra 8 inches that would have taken them over the ravine. So your angels, like, there was definitely angelic intervention at that time. They will do miraculous things like that. You will trip and be pulled back physically so that you don't fall into traffic. More subtle ways in day-to-day stuff. Maybe in the morning I've asked for, I'm like, okay guys, like, I'm not sure like, I think this is the right idea. I kind of feel like this is a yes, but I'm emotionally attached to it, so I'm not quite sure. So I will look for signs during the day, and trust me, they will show up. Now, you can ask your angels or your guides, how do they want to send you messages? You can also do this for loved ones who've passed away. So just say, hey, listen, let's test this out. I would like to know what my yes is. If you're trying to tell me yes, then today, can you give me a couple of repeated signs that mean yes? Now, you may come up with numbers. So my daughter, she has angel numbers. Actually, she has her angel numbers tattooed on her. So she's very clear about which numbers mean yes and no. So she's got all of her yes numbers tattooed on her. So she knows that if those numbers show up, 222, 444, 777, she knows that that's a clear sign from her team. It could be also that particular numbers are a no. Maybe it's like, and I'm just making this up, but maybe it's 999. But ask your team for guidance. Let me know how you want to communicate, and they will. For me, if it's a yes, I will see white feathers. I know, very typical, right? But anyways, I like feathers. So white feathers will appear out of nowhere. And it's not always an actual feather, though most of the time I will see them, literally 4 or 5 of them as I walk down the street or something. But also they could show up in an email or on the side of a truck. But they usually make it very obvious because I ask for flashing billboards. I don't take subtle well. My no is a black feather. Really simple. They don't make it complicated. This is simple stuff. So ask for guidance on your yes and your no. They will use anything in their power to assist you, to guide you, to nudge you, all of that kind of stuff. So the environment around you is all fair game. So pay attention. Now, one more little game that you can play with the angels and your guides is, and I love this one. It's new to me, and I have tried it with a few clients, and they loved it. They had so much fun. So you simply kind of pause in the morning and say, okay, I want proof. I need my human mind to stop the jabbering because it thinks that I'm ridiculous and that this is all my imagination. So I need some proof that you guys are really there. So what you do is you just go, okay, I know you're going to give me a sign today. So the sign will be, and then pause. Just pause. It's always good to take a deep breath kind of in that moment. And then you wait for them to plant something because they already see your whole day lined out. They know what's going to happen. They have a much broader perspective than we do. And then they're going to plant like, okay, so I live in Canada and we don't have pennies anymore. And I have a client who, she said, out of nowhere, I got like the word penny dropped in my head. And she was like, seriously? They're like, we just don't see them anymore. But she said, I'm going to trust it. She got home that evening and her a little girl that is at her house with her daughter was playing with Play-Doh, and they had I guess like a cookie cutter set, and she made these things out of Play-Doh and handed them over to my client. And she said, this is for you. And it was pennies. So she had Play-Doh pennies. And she was like, I never, ever could have thought that that's how they would show up. Like that has got to be my team at work. Otherwise, I never would have believed it. So wait for them to drop something in and then watch for it during the day and just kind of forget about it. Cause you'll remember when it shows up, it's usually kind of like in a fairly obvious way. Okay. So that's a game that you can play to get your human thinking brain on board with your spirit self so that they can both work together, which is what I am all about. Okay, so I hope that answered some questions and kind of made it clear about who's on your team, how do I talk to them? Oh, last thing about how to talk to them. Always be respectful. Your guides, your angels, your ancestors, everybody on your team is coming from a place of unconditional love. They are coming from this amazing giving place. So be respectful. I always use please and thank you. I automatically now, I don't even think about it. I always say, thank you, I love you. It's just this appreciation. And that emotion of gratitude raises our vibration and makes it easier for us to connect to them. So in my next video, I'm going to be talking all about raising vibration and how to make the bridge between the angelic realm and us a little easier to traverse. Okay, guys, I hope you've had fun. And if you like this video and want to see more, then be sure to put a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you can get more tips and tricks and tips about how to connect to your angelic team. I love you, and you all have a fabulous day.